Welcome to Science Store online classes.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Welcome to all my students. Today I am taking biology class, and that we have studied the topic living world. So we done with the introductory part and we studied the different characteristic of living organism that should be we have to tell it as a living organism. So under that we have studied the growth, reproduction, then cell organization, then metabolism, then consciousness. These are the 5 main important characteristics of living organism. Along with that, respiration, movement and interaction to the outer environmental world. These are also the important characteristic of living organism. Here we studied the main characteristic. We studied the remaining character. Today we are going to study about the cell organization. So cell organization, we have studied cell organization. Cell organization means organization of the cell within the living system. The living system, based on the number of cells, living system may be differentiated into 2 types of the organism, that is unicellular and multicellular. So in unicellular, the cell, the organization within the cell takes place, but in multicellular organism, the different cell will arrange in order to perform various biological functions. So their cell organization play a very important role. If the cell is not organized well, the living system will not able to perform a normal functioning. Next we studied about the consciousness. Consciousness, which is also very important factors of a living organism, that is interaction to the outer world. There all the living organisms show consciousness. So all multicellular from prokaryotic organism to the eukaryotic organism, we can see consciousness or interaction to the outer world. Interaction may be in physical, chemical or biological form. The outer environmental interaction influence or the stimulus may be physical, chemical and biological. So we have studied how the physical factor affect, how the chemical factor affect, how the biological factor. Here in animals, the sensory organ will sense the outer environmental stimulus and they respond to that particular stimulus. Plants also show some of the stimulation. Plant also get stimulus in the form of light, temperature, water. These are the main factors for the growth of plant and other living organism, as well as pollutants. Even the pollutants also play very important, which is a very important outer stimulus for the plants. If the pollution, if the pollution increases like garbages or the biological product in a water bodies like lake, lake alella, ಈ garbage or the drainage system ಜಾಸ್ತಿ accumulation ಆದರೆ what we can see algal bloom, the high growth of the algae, that is effect because of the accumulation of the pollutants. So that results in the algal bloom, that is effect to the environment, and that is a stimulus or that is a response shown by the plants in order to the pollutants. And some of the pollutant will suppress the growth of the plant, means which decreases the number of plant in particular area. So the pollutants also play very important role in the growth of the plant. And next, one more important factor we going to study is photo period. This is also very important factor. Photoperiod means the duration of light in a day. The duration of light in a day is called as photoperiod. That is also very important for the growth of plant. That affect mainly the seasonal breeders. Some of the crops will show their flowering or will get their yield only in a particular duration of time. That is depend on the duration of light in a day. For example, we have seen in our common days, our common life cycle, some days we can see early, the morning will be so early, the light, we get bright light in very early in 6 o'clock, and late sunset, late sunset till 6 or till 7 the sun will not, the light will be there around us. So that type of day we'll call it as long day, the long day, and that is because of the presence of light duration. The duration of light is more at that time, and sometimes the morning will be so late, even the 6-7 the sun will not, sunrise will not be there, or the sunlight will not be seen. Even in the evening we cannot see the sunlight, sunset will be so early. In 6-7 itself we feel so dark around us. So that type of days we'll call it as a short day. So that is that effect of the day, the light in a day we'll call it as photoperiod. That affect the growth of the plant, and that also affect the reproduction in plant as well as in animals. Animals also show reproduction in particular time. ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಇವನ್ ದ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ರೈಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟೈಮ್, August to this August, from September to October we can see the flowering as well as the seed formation in the rice plant. Same way various plant will show various, even the mango formation will be in spring season. That is there the duration of light varies, so that affect the growth or the reproduction of the plant. Mainly the photoperiod affect the reproduction in plants or the living organism. So these are the very important factors, that's consciousness or environmental effect to the living system. Even the prokaryotic as well as eukaryotic organism will show the response to outer environmental condition. And one more important factor is interaction. Interaction is also very important in the living organism. That results in a various functioning in the living organism. That is, interaction may be between the organs, between the living organism, that is not studied here. The interaction between the organ system that I have explained, interaction between the tissues, interaction between the cells, interaction between the cell or within the cell organelles, and interaction between the molecules will play very important role in a living system for the normal growth or the normal functioning of living organism. These are the very important factors, and that help for self replication. That interaction will result in self replication. So the functioning within the body system is normal, the organism is ready to replicate. So self replicate is also very important. Then evolution is also very important factor shown by the living organism because of the interaction. So interaction or the various environmental condition will affect the evolution within the living organism. Evolution you have studied from simple organism to complex organism. For example, from human beings, which is originated from the monkeys, because of the evolution within the monkeys or the gorillas that gradually taking place. The evolution, the changes within the genetic material will result in a formation of new organism. Next, third one is self regulating. These are this is also self regulating. All the organism will regulate their function within themselves. They won't depend on the other source to regulate. So for example, if you take the environmental stimulus, the reaction or the any changes takes place within the organism, not by the other factor. So to change that, the organism itself regulation ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಅದರಾಗಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದು ಆ ಹೊರಗಿನ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಗೆ ಫೇವರೇಬಲ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, these are the important factors. So because of this action, the plant, this is a result of this interaction will be the result of the presence of past, present and future of the living organism. Because of these characteristic resulted in the present, past and future of the living organism, and also how the genetic material will be transformed from one organism that we have studied. From evolution part, we are going to study how the genetic material changing within the organism that resulted in the formation of higher organism. If you consider a living organism, any bacillus or any bacteria, they contain the same genetic material compared to the higher organism, but some variation in the genetic material, sequence ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಜೀವಿಯ ಉಗಮಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಬಟ್ ದ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಜೆನೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸೇಮ್ ಇನ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ organisms. So that you are going to study in few higher classes. So next we studied about the diversity. So diversity means the variability and variety present on the earth. That may be in living organism or well as non-living organism. Simply we'll call it as a diversity. And variation or the type and the number of living organism present on earth. That is the type and the number of different types of living organism present on earth is called as biodiversity. So bio refers to the living Bio refers to the living system, and diversity means varieties within the living system is called as biodiversity. So we can see biodiversity in your garden. We can see different types of plants in your garden. We can see diversity in dense forest. If you go for further areas, you will get large diversity. If you take a small area, you can find few diversity. If you take a large area, you can find you are able to find large number of diversity. So under that we have studied the nomenclature. So a single plant may contain a different local names. I have given an example. A single plant may contain different local names. In order to avoid that confusion, even the animals also having many local names. So in order to, I have given example as a mango, tulsi. These are the few example. In tulsi, in English we call it as basil, and some other place they call with some other name. Mango, here we call it as mavu. In Hindi language they will call it as aam, or in different countries they call it with the different names. So this makes a confusion while studying the living organism. So in order to avoid that confusion, in order to avoid the confusion between the local names, the scientists gathered themselves and made a standard procedure to study the living organism. That system we'll call it as a nomenclature. Nomenclature means nothing but giving name to the particular organism in such a way that in all over the world that particular organism is identified with that particular name. Nomenclature means the naming of the organism the naming of a particular organism in such a way that a single name can be present all over or identified by that particular name all over the world. That system of naming we'll call it as a nomenclature, and here we are we are only naming the living organism, so that we'll call it as nomenclature. And for the study of the nomenclature, we need to know the characteristics, standard characters, the particular standard characterization is very important. That standard characteristic given with the naming of the organism, the standard characteristic, standard procedure in order to study the naming of the, in order to give the name of the organism is called as identification. Identification is nothing but we have to identify the plant. For example, if the cat, dog, any cow, these are the animals present around us. We have to identify that by seeing the external structure. So by seeing that, by studying the characters, we can identify the organism. If once we identify the organism, we are able to name that organism. So before the standard criteria or the standard characterization given, the standard procedure to give the for the naming of the organism, we'll call it as identification. Identification is very important for the naming procedure. So here the biological name contains two main components. Here the nomenclature system, single scientific, the naming by the process of nomenclature, we'll call it as that particular name for a single organism, for the single name for the single organism, we'll call it as scientific name. This will call it as the common names, will call it as local names, and the standard name given by the international committee will call it as scientific name. And these scientific botanical names are based on the rules given by ICBN, the standard naming system of plants, or the botanical namings is based on the rules given by the ICBN. ICBN stands for International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. This is very important. May be asked in your exam, write the abbreviation form of ICBN. This is ICBN is and define ICBN. Here the ICBN refer to the naming of the botanical system, botanical organism, that is plants, botany. Here the usually biology is differentiated into two main branch, that is botany and zoology. This is a standard and a main. Further types are there. Two main types are botany and zoology. Botany refers to the study of plants. Zoology refers to the study of animals. Remember, botany refers to the study of plants. Zoology refers to the study of animals. So these are the two main branches of biology. We can see further branches like biotechnology, microbiology, various parts are there. So that is a further division. Two main division is botany and zoology. So botany means plants, the naming of the plants under the standard rules given by ICBN. Here the rules followed by the ICBN. So this is very important. This is a international committee which maintain the naming of the botanical organism, that is plant organism. Next, one more committee is there, international committee, ICZN, same International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. Here the zoological name is based on the rules given by the International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. This ICZN will give standard procedure to name a particular animal that we'll call it as a ICZN. That the committee will call it as a ICZ, and that standard procedure we'll call it as a ICZ. And all the rules regarding the naming system is given in this ICZN. So we have to follow that rules, and these are the two main committees to give. And other committees also there, ICBAN, that is International Code for Bacterial Nomenclature. This is not required for extra information. ICVN, that is International Code for Viral Nomenclature. So these are the different committees. Based on the organism, we can differentiate the naming system, the rules also differentiate. So very important here, the living organism we can classify two types, that is one organism we can see by our naked eye, and few organism we cannot by our naked eyes, we have to use the microscope. That type of organism we'll call it as microorganism. Should know these definitions, that is microorganisms. Microorganism which is observed under the microscope is called as microorganism. Means ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ದರ್ಶಕದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಾಣುವಂತಹ ಜೀವಿಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಅಂತೇವೆ ಅಥವಾ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಜೀವಿಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಸೊ if you take a drop of water from pond, if you observe under microscope, you can see large number of moving small minute round and rod shaped structure will be moving. These are nothing but bacteria, and also some of the protozoans, that is amoeba and euglena like structure will be moving. So these are the microscopic organism. So they are microorganism, and the organism which can see by our naked eyes we can call it as macroorganism. This is also called as microbes. Okay, no need, you are going to study in next classes. So macroorganism are the organism which can see by our naked eye, microorganism which can be seen only under the microscope. So next we'll move to the scientific naming. The naming system of a particular organism by a single name. A single scientific name contain two components. A single scientific name contain two components. First component is generic name. First component is called as generic name, and second component is called as specific epithet. The first component is called as generic name, and second component will call it as a specific epithet. So the single scientific name contain a two component. The generic name is also called as genus, and specific epithet is also called as species. So it contain two names, that is genus name and species name, that is generic name and specific epithet. Let us study the standard rules for the binomial nomenclature. The standard rules, universally accepted rules to study the scientific naming. First point is always the single scientific name containing two components is called as binomial nomenclature. So this binomial nomenclature. So we are going to study the rules in next classes. Today we find that. So in next class we are going to study about the rules followed by the binomial nomenclature.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.